What's going on, guys? This is Damien from the Lookout. It's sunny outside. Yes, it's the sunlight. I'm showing you this because I have received some feedback saying like, Damien, why do you always film during the dark like some goddamn vampire? Do you hate the sun? And to this I can only say, 1 counter, 2 counter, ha ha ha. On that topic, we are kicking the hornet's nest again. We are discussing counters, their role in the game, are they healthy for the game, and all things, you know, counter related. But before we begin, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 500 subs. We are so close, and then we're gonna have an awesome giveaway. The first thing that I want to say before we even dive into anything, because I know people are going to jump to assumptions, no, I am not calling for cooler counter to be banned. I'm not going to touch cooler counter. Now that we got this out of the way, let's discuss counters. Counters to counters, as the name says, you know, so you play them in the second counter window when your opponent responds with a counter, and then they usually either negate the counter or they do something else. Every color has them. Like, blue has a couple, yellow has 1, 2, yes. Red has 1, the King Vegeta Seed and Ambitions, black has 2, and these are all, you know, very common cards, you know, they are not difficult to get. Oh, and green has 1, and that one is a secret rare, because that's what you get for playing green. We have 3 types of counter cards. We have the ones that just flat out counter everything. We have the ones that just counter something very specific, like counter attack, for example, but they don't counter play. And we have the ones that just do something on counter, but they don't actually negate anything. Now that you know the different types of counters, let's discuss their role in the game. Naturally, you would think of, well, it's a counter. That means that, you know, it probably negates my opponent's counter. And to an extent, you would be right. But we need to ask ourselves, are these type of counter cards healthy for the game? Should we even have counter cards playing a role in Dragon Ball Super card game? The argument that I've heard online is, well, counter cards are a way to both defend yourself and to punish your opponent, primarily counterplay cards, for playing into them. So if I'm already using them to defend myself, I'm already playing, you know, from a losing position. If I need to play like Floodgate or something not to lose this turn, ergo I shouldn't be punished for doing this. And I don't think that that's a correct mindset. On the other hand, I don't believe that counters which just flat out negate other counters are healthy for the game. I don't think that this is the way that counters should be done. Because I think that, yes, if you ask me, should people be punished for playing counters? Yes, I'm making this video because I believe that we could use more counter cards that punish your opponent. But to punish an opponent in a way that you just flat out negate their counter, I think that's a bit too extreme. I think that's too much of a punishment and that it has too big implications. Here's what I'm thinking. So there's a world of a difference when it comes to punishing your opponent with counter cards. You got like the I counter your counter completely, and if I swung with my double striker and you're on 2 life, I just flat out win the game. That's it. What you did, what you prepared to counter yourself for to counter my attack or anything, it doesn't matter. I win. And there is the other imaginary way that I'm hoping we get is, let's say, okay, I cannot negate your counter. You still get to negate my attack, floodgate, whatever. But let's say if I'm playing red, I neg 2 of your things for, let's say, -15, ignore -20, doesn't matter, ignoring barrier. So yeah, you did survive my attack, but like I still got something out of it. And you got the thing that you are safe. You reached the next turn. I think that's the way that we should start doing this. What would these counters look like? I imagine they would look like this Vegeta, so blue doesn't need another one. That's it. They should all cost 3, like Vegeta and Cooler, but unlike Cooler they should do something else. There shouldn't be any sort of a permanent that makes them cheaper, and they should be like completely color locked. So locked with leader, locked with energy that you need to pay for them, so like blue one, free blue, and your leader needs to be blue. That's it, no other way to play around this. And they should do like some sort of a lighter punishment. Nothing too severe. I understand that paying free energy to do something has to be impactful. It just has to be impactful. But it also cannot be a counter completely. What would these counter look like? I don't know, honestly. I imagine that the red one is going to be negging something, ignoring barrier. The yellow one is going to be resting like 2 things, ignoring barrier. I don't know what the black one would do. And the green one would like... I don't know. KO something, not ignoring barrier is probably the best that we can hope for. I would say force your opponent to discard 1 or 2 cards, but it's probably going to be like a 5k guy KO something, not ignoring barrier. Pray not to lose the next turn. Now we come full circle. Imagine that Bandai creates these counters. What happens with Cooler? Well, if these ones ever get created, then I would say Cooler should be banned. Because the yellow one is never going to be as good as Cooler. The other ones aren't going to be as good as Cooler. But yellow got some replacement, and then I would say okay, maybe it's time to ban Cooler. Will this happen? I don't know, we will see. But are counters healthy for the game? I believe so, if they are done in a way that I have presented. You know, they don't counter everything, they don't negate stuff, but they are some sort of light punishment. I think that would be fair. That's it for the video. Now I would like to hear your opinions. Do you think that counters are healthy for the game? Do you want to see more of them? Would you perhaps rather that every color has its own cooler and that's it? Leave your opinions in the comments below. I read all of your comments, I try to reply to everything. I love interacting with you, and hit that subscribe button. We are super close to 500 subs. We're pushing out a new video each day. So this has been Damien from The Lookout, and I will see all of you in the next video.